Man is making national headlines this morning after he went on an anti-Muslim tirade on a Texas beach.
Yeah, Fox 61's Caitlin Gosley joins us now with a lot more on what happened and what led up to it.
Yeah, well, a lot of this video we actually can't show you at home. It's just too explicit. But what we can show you, well, it sums it up pretty nicely. Take a look.
You will never, ever stop me, my Christianity, from rising above your Sharia law.
Well, this was the scene on a beach in South Padre Island in Texas earlier this month. The man in the video, police say 35-year-old Alexander Jennings Downing from Waterford. The video was captured by the family he was apparently yelling at. They posted that video to their YouTube page and described what happened that day, saying that they were there for a family reunion and they had several young children with them. Now, Downing is heard in parts of that video yelling comments about ISIS and Muslims and screaming, quote, "My country is the greatest country in the world." At one point, he becomes so heated, he begins banging on his chest. And towards the end of that video, you can hear him yelling, "Donald Trump will stop you," in between some curse words. The family says they called police for help 2 separate times because Downing had left by the time police arrived the first time they called him. He did eventually come back yelling at them again shortly after. Downing was eventually arrested and charged with public intoxication. Erica, back to you.
State University.
Sharia law, ever, okay? You can try to act like you're innocent. You can try to, guess what? You will never, ever stop me, my Christianity, from rising above your Sharia law. Your Sharia law don't mean. Guess what? Guess what? My sins, so you motherfuckers weak as. Guess what? ISIS don't mean. No. ISIS don't mean. Donald Trump will stop you. Donald Trump will stop you. Donald Trump will stop you. He's not going to touch your child. He's not going to touch your child. Donald Trump. Donald Trump. Donald Trump. God. What? Suck my goddamn. Right there. Right there. Right.
Why are you doing that in front of our woman, man? You then.
My country is the greatest country in the world. My country is the greatest country in the world.
Go ahead.
Don't give him this man's face. My country is the greatest country in the goddamn world. Ever. Look at that. Donald Trump. Donald Trump. Donald Trump. That's my mother. President. My president right there.
Disturbing video shows how the two-party paradigm turns people into hate-filled zombies. A chilling video captured at the beach in front of South Padre Pearl Hotel shows the horrid, yet entirely predictable, effects of the two-party paradigm on the minds of Americans. In the video, a person, who's bought into the hateful anti-Muslim rhetoric spouted out by the establishment right and amplified back by the establishment left, began yelling at an Arab family, saying, "Donald Trump will stop you." The clearly inebriated and uniformed man accused the family of being members of ISIS and claimed they practiced Sharia law. It is obvious that this ignorant man made these assumptions based on the family's skin color alone. During his racially charged tirade, this maniac beat on his chest, yelling how America is the greatest country on the planet. Having clearly taken the hateful bait of the right, this man ignorantly ignores the notion that made America ostensibly great to begin with, and it was most assuredly not Donald Trump. America is great not because of the government, the cops, the military, or puppet politicians. No, the great thing about America is that people aren't supposed to be persecuted for being a different race, religion, sexual orientation, or speaking their minds. Sadly, however, this freedom from persecution for being different is a facade at best, and that's because of obstinate two-party paradigm buying drones like the guy in the video below. According to Noria Alward, who made the video, this guy approached her family and began yelling racial slurs. He was yelling so loud that my uncles and my brother came over from the water to see what was going on, explains Alward. The insane man came close to the kids, and that's when my uncle stood up to him and defended us and the kids, including my 4-year-old cousin, 4 and 2-year-old nephews. Image, http://pixel.watch/QT7. For threatening an entire family, complete with small children, this man was arrested. However, the family notes that they saw him back at the hotel that morning and wasn't even asked to leave. Below is the video highlighting the psychological effects of US vs them tactics perpetrated on society via the two-party paradigm. Read more. Anonymous takes down ISIS dark website, replaces it with Viagra ad, message to calm down. To be clear, because we are noting the ignorant rhetoric of the right, this does not, by any means, mean we are endorsing the ignorant rhetoric of the left. As we've seen with the recent hard left Antifa violence, both parties stoke divide and hatred toward their fellow human. Of course, Donald Trump cannot be held responsible for the actions of his supporters. However, the system is designed to foster this hate, and Trump is a part of that system. For the majority Americans, the United States political system is seen as a football game. Anytime their party is in power, it's as if they are winning and the other party or team is losing. But what most Americans fail to see is that both teams have the same owner. That owner cares not about which one of their teams is winning, just so long as it's one of their teams in the game. This owner of the teams is not a single person, nor a single corporation, or focus group, or think tank. Despite the best efforts of Alex Jones and the like, the owners of government cannot be nailed down to just a few old rich men. This is because the owners can be anyone. The US political system is set up in such a manner that it allows for anyone with enough money to steer policy that benefits them personally. Politicians are hardly particular when it comes to who's throwing money at them, so ownership is constantly in a state of flux. The controlled politicians, the rigged system, and the elite are not some vast conspiracy as much as they are a tendency of the state in general. As long as a system exists that allows government force to be bought and sold for the benefit and privilege of a few, these atrocities will continue. The money shoved into the pockets of politicians on behalf of special interest groups, aka bribery, has become so mainstream and widely accepted that no one even bats an eye at the billions doled out to their elected officials on behalf of lobbyists. Read more. Watch, cop snaps, pulls gun on tow truck driver for towing her car, gets slap on the wrist. Republicans and Democrats alike sit back in their plush, taxpayer-funded offices in white marble buildings, rubbing elbows with elite businessmen who pay them to write laws that create unfair advantages for their industries. In the extremely rare case that a politician resists this corruption and refuses to conform, they are ridiculed by fellow lawmakers, painted as kooks by the MSM, and their supporters labeled as radical nut jobs. Meanwhile, we the people argue over the various privileges granted, and how much of our paychecks can be stolen by the almighty rulers on high. The reason it's so hard for people to break out of their two-party shells and see that there are no differences between politicians with a D and politicians with an R, is a complex one. However, much of the reason we refuse to see things as they are is that humans have a naturally tribalistic tendency. Democrats and Republicans know and employ multiple techniques to keep you on their team, aka tribe. The main technique used is us versus them manipulation. Constantly pointing out the flaws of the perceived them group makes the us group easily dismiss logical information without applying any critical thought. This is how both Democrats and Republicans can pass freedom-shattering police state laws, bipartisanly, and the masses continue to support their party. All the blame from such horrid policy is easily written off and passed on to the other guy. This method of ridicule invokes the black and white constraint of thinking, there are only two choices, and one is detrimental while the other is our savior. MSM and politicians love this constraint on your mind because they can simply convince you that you must go their way, and not with this utterly ridiculous choice. In the meantime, however, Republicans are for big government, if with war, and the Democrats are for war, if with big government. And, the only change people see is their dwindling bank accounts. Seeing outside of the two-party paradigm is a difficult task. It can take years for people to break their conditioning and see the political system for the rigged game that it is. Read more. Shock video, man runs into jail lobby for help, dies after encounter with deputies. The good news is that once you see the system for what it is, you cannot unsee it. No one goes back to sleep, despite the fact that waking up to the system can be particularly stressful. The number of people waking up to the controlled two-party system is ever increasing, and those people, in turn, wake up others. If you are one of those people who sees Washington, D.C. as the Don King boxing match that it is, then you are doing something right. You are likely a reader of the alternative media, you probably don't watch massive amounts of television, and you likely have a thirst for a lesser ignorance. If you are accused of being a liberal and a conservative in the same conversation, it's probably because you have broken free from the cult-like constraints placed on you by the system. However, only waking up is not enough. If you want to affect positive change in this world, then you have to become that change. This doesn't mean that you have to go out, buy a bullhorn and begin screaming in the streets. Simply changing your purchasing habits can force a change far greater than any bullhorn. Voting with your dollars is far more effective at inciting change than a voting booth. The radical and peaceful change that society needs will most assuredly not originate from the center of the very system that is designed to prevent it. You can quite literally be the change that you want to see in this world, and you can start this now. Do not be discouraged by the establishment who attempts to silence your radical and peaceful views and keep them on the fringe. They do it out of fear. It's merely an act of self-preservation, and it shows that open-mindedness and peace are overcoming cruelty and ignorance. Always remember, no army can stop an idea whose time has come. Share this article with your friends who have broken free from political labels and let them know they are doing it right.
Hey Charlotte County, this is Charlotte County Cop Watch, and I wanted to explain what fair use is. You can use pieces of news articles if you're doing it for news reporting, you have commentary, and you're doing it for education purposes. So that's what fair use is, as you can see right here. Another reason why I wanted to make this video is to let you know I have just joined with Patreon. A nice thing with Patreon, I make no money on YouTube. They took the money away years ago, and so this is another way to give, and it's a nice thing too because you can give monthly. You can give $1, $5, $10, whatever. I do 4 to 5 hours a day on trying to wake the sheeple up on how corrupt it is and different ways that you can fight the corruption. So Patreon is a way that you can do it, and then of course the old way is still there. Donate to Charlotte County Cop Watch with PayPal or credit card. So keep that in mind. 4 to 5 hours a day. I make no money, but the corruption happened to me and I'm sick of it, so I'm trying to wake people up. But my wife would love it if if we could get some help out there. There's 47,000 subscribers. Just think if each one of you subscribers just gave a, let's say actually yes, $1 a month. 47,000 subscribers gave $1 a month. That would be awesome. That's not going to happen. But anyways, that would be great if it did happen. But do the math in your head. Just think about it. Like I said, 4 to 5 hours a day. I get no money from YouTube. YouTube has gone nuts. You can't do anything anymore. They're taking the money away everywhere. So these are a couple different ways that you can still help out with all this time that I put in. And as you know, I'm in a special situation where, at least I can do it. 4 to 5 hours a day. We have a cleaning company during the day. That's what allows me to do this, and we're debt free. So this is my hobby. I don't go fishing and all that other crap. I try to save the world. So help me out to make the wife happy, man. In fact, if you guys did give $1 a day, and there was 47,000 of you, and you did it, and each of you gave $1, and that was every month. Oh my God, yes, I could quit. I could start suing them. Another idea too that we have is, you know, if I got, you know, some funds, we could actually contact everyone that has been ticketed and or arrested and put in jail and start sending them postcards to let them know we're here, and to see if everything went all right, and if it didn't, find out their story. So we could even do more investigations and more lawsuits. Lawsuits take money. So just think about that. You know, 47,000 of you so far right now. You know, $1 a day. I mean, $1 a month on Patreon, or $5 a month Patreon, 10, 20, whatever. Just do the math in your head. Help out. This is a lot of work every single day. Thanks.